We are live, and I've got a song for you. Holy gay, should have stayed at home yesterday. Our words can't describe the feelings and the way you lie. Games you play are gonna end up more than tears today. Holy gay, shouldn't have to end this way. That's where the synths come in. Hi, Sandro. How are you?
Ashley, I'm fine, thank you. Oh gosh, that rolled back the years for me. Thank you for serenading me. It was slightly surreal to be sung to at this time of the morning because, as you know, I'm in.
Wait, you're in Colorado, is it? So that what time is it there, Sandro?
5:30 in the morning.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much for coming on. Do you know, a lesser person would have messaged me and said, do you know where I am in the world? I can't make it. But yeah, good for you. Good for you.
Well, so, you did ask me, and it was very kind of you to get me to do this. And all those months ago when you asked me to do it, I put it in my diary. And then I got this speaking gig in Denver. And I thought, I can't let Ashley down. So whatever time of the day or night it is, I'm doing it.
Good for you. Good for you. This is hilarious. So you're at 5 o'clock in the morning. You've traveled all the way over there to do a speaking gig, and you're coming on live here to do a little speaking gig with me. So thank you so much. My first ever question is, why did you choose that song?
Well, I am 54 years old. So I grew up in the 80s. All the music influences in my life have come from the 1980s. And just recently, I went to an OMD concert in London and saw all the guys, rolling back the years. It was amazing. So a combination of taking me back to my childhood, which was some amazing years, and the recent concert at the Royal Albert Hall, which was absolutely mind-blowingly good.
No, that's superb. Yeah, orchestral maneuvers in the dark for those people that don't know OMD. And we grew up at the same time, and we were very blessed with the music back then. I don't know what Karen's on about. She said you were cringing then. Was I that bad?
Not at all. And the lovely Karen Eckstein. We go back a long time, her and I. Maybe it was just the fact that I've still got sleep in my eyes, Karen. I'm not sure, but I wasn't cringing, and that was quite a surreal experience, I have to say. Awesome. Beautifully sung, though, Ashley.
Oh, bless you. You're very kind. You're very kind. It loses a little bit on StreamYard, and also that it's very difficult to do songs from the 80s on just an acoustic guitar because, as you know, back in the 80s, everyone was getting a synthesizer. Now, Howard Jones was one of my favorites. And he was all synthesizer. I've seen him recently. He played at a local place, and what he did is he took us through all the songs and chatted about it. It was absolutely brilliant. It was really, really good, and it was more piano than all the synthesizer stuff. But yeah,
he was the only 80s singer I recall who could carry off a woolly jumper. Do you remember?
Yeah. They were coolest jumpers. I wanted one. I really wanted one of those woolly jumpers. Anyway, so we're here to talk a little bit about LinkedIn and then a little bit about yourself. So tell us what you like about LinkedIn.
Well, I'm a Gen Xer, so you're probably talking to the wrong person when it comes to social media, Ashley. But the one social media platform I do like using, although I'm not as visible as I would like to be, this is where you and I met, and the reason why you've opened so many doors for me, for which I'm grateful. For me, it's the really professional business community. It's a platform where I think we get the opportunity to interact and share information. I've got to be a bit careful what I say here because I don't want to be disrespectful to the other platforms, but in a kind of a professional, safe, respectful environment, rather than just kind of dumping content onto a platform. And so it's for a number of things, really, but to enhance business, community spirit. Karen, going back to Karen, she's somebody that's quite active on LinkedIn as well. So all my best contacts and connections are definitely via LinkedIn.
Yeah, perfect. And I'm making loads of friends just by being on LinkedIn. It is quite incredible. It's quite incredible. I absolutely love it. So do you post your own content, Sandro?
Oh, this is turning into a nightmare already. I do, which is why you don't see very many posts, but you very kindly introduced me to a lovely lady recently, and she's taking on that responsibility for me shortly. So yes, I do post my own material, but I don't have the time to do as much as I would like. But that is changing thanks to our connection. So
no, perfect, and that's the thing, isn't it? So Karen's saying she's moaning because I didn't serenade her. She was on a different show. So the Tuesday show is more light-hearted. You came on the serious show, Karen. And do you know Ali? Glad you had a chance to hear you. So hi Ali, thanks for joining us today. So do you get business from what you do on LinkedIn, Sandro?
That's a difficult one to answer because I don't really know. I think that somebody once told me, I listened to somebody on a stage once, and they shared this whole concept of being iconic in business. And one of the 3 rules to becoming iconic was visibility. So I'm not sure that somebody would necessarily respond to a post on LinkedIn and call me and say, I would like to connect with you in a business capacity. What I do think LinkedIn does for me in my business, because as you know, Ashley, I wear 5 different hats. So, my philanthropy, my speaking, the book writing, the podcast, and of course the day job, which is financial planning. Difficult to know whether somebody would reach out to me directly, but everything from things like Vouch For to my speaking, but especially to LinkedIn, I think adds that credibility and that visibility that enhances relationships. So I think indirectly the answer would be yes to your question.
No, perfect. So tell us a little bit about what you do, and you just said 5 hats. Which is your favorite hat?
It's like comparing apples with oranges, but the one
or your favorite children, I suppose.
The one I'm most proud of, Ashley, is my philanthropic work. So I'm very pleased to say that I've raised over £16 million for various charities over the years. I serve on the board of 2 wonderful charities, and the ability to help others. And just a quick word on philanthropy. A lot of people think that philanthropic work means giving lots of money. It doesn't. It just means giving time or opening a door or reaching out to somebody that you might see sitting in a doorway, at the corner of a street who hasn't, slept in a decent bed for a number of years. Philanthropic spirit comes in lots of different shapes and sizes. That would be the one I'm proudest of. The satisfaction I get from the day job has kind of spawned the speaking and the book writing and to some extent the podcast as well. I've met some amazing people over the years doing what I do, and because of my own personal story, losing my father and then my stepfather to cancer, I feel really passionate about what I do. It's not just a job for me; it's a kind of a calling, I guess. So all those things, I can't kind of put one down because they all interconnect. So the philanthropic work is the one I'm proudest of, and the day job is the one that gives me the most satisfaction, I guess, because you can literally change people's lives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that day job, let everybody know what the day job actually is.
31 years ago, I started as a young apprentice working in a financial services business. And the gentleman, I won't mention his name, I think he might have gone to jail since then. He was the stereotypical financial advisor. If we all have that stereotypical view, and I'm sure most people do that are listening, and I just didn't want to be that person at all. So I set about in 96, having suffered at the hands of this guy who was very transactional, didn't much care for his clients, just interested in making money. I set about starting my own business. In the year I got married, had twin children. I thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, start my own business. And I created something that was almost the antithesis of the stereotypical financial services business. And then fast forward 25 years, 450 clients, some incredible business people, celebrities, sports stars, a royal family. I mean, you couldn't make it up. But it's because I think we stand for something that is, I wouldn't say unique, but something that means something to people in the sense that this is a long-term client relationship driven journey that has, that has that interpersonal connectivity at the heart of everything we do. And I've got a wonderful team of people. 25 years in the business without a client complaint is something I'm extremely proud of.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you know, but I actually started my journey in sales in financial services.
I know.
I used to work at the Refuge Assurance. So yeah, and you're right. I knew all of those stereotypical people,
Yeah.
and it was back then that Latro was just coming in, and then it would do sort of like you had to do fact finds and stuff like that. And I thought that was absolutely incredible because you could really find out and really help these people. But the powers that be were sort of like, well, no, it's not about that. It's about getting the deal. No, that's not right. That's not right. I wish I'd have met you back then.
I went on a 1-week induction course in Cardiff, I remember, and I was given a rate book, which is the way of calculating like insurance premiums.
Yeah.
And I was basically told to make hundreds and hundreds of phone calls and hope that somebody said yes. I mean, it's bizarre to think that that's where we were only 30 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was crazy. So you sent me a bio, and there's a few things in there I need to pick on. So tell me about Dinner with the Queen or Tea with the Queen. What happened there?
A very well-known celebrity who used to appear on Saturday night television regularly. I won't tell you his name. We've become very good friends, and we became good friends because he lived not too far away from me. I originate from the West Country, and this gentleman wasn't too far away from me geographically. And I reached out to him through a mutual contact. And he said, I'll only become a client if you join the NSPCC Foundation and help me raise £7.5 million for what was called the Full Stop campaign. It was a campaign that was designed to increase the amount of convictions in child abuse cases.
I can remember the Full Stop campaign, yeah.
Yeah, and children weren't able to give evidence typically in court because the perpetrator of the crime was generally stood opposite them. And so we created this campaign where we could have closed circuit television for them to give evidence. Anyway, long story short, I agreed to the challenge, and we became very, very good friends. And the NSPCC, having reached its target through the collective efforts of everyone involved, we then got invited to Buckingham Palace to have tea with the Queen to celebrate the fact that we'd raised this £7.5 million for charity. So that's how it happened.
Oh, fantastic! So, did you actually get to say hello to Her Majesty?
I did.
Wow. So, did you behave? I don't know if you saw the Jubilee. Did you behave like Paddington?
No, no, I did. I was definitely on best behaviour that day for fear of being thrown in the Tower of London.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing you said in the in the email was that you won the pools. Okay, now, so I do know what the pools is because we grew up at the same time, but there's a lot of people out here that haven't got a clue what the pools are. So first of all, explain what the pools are, and then tell us how much you won.
Well, the football pools back in the day was a bit like today's lottery, except you'd bet on football matches. And so, it wasn't called the Premiership then, but you'd have League One, League Two, League Three. And then what you had to do is either decide, you have to basically pick the score draws. Now, a score draw was either 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-4. And if you picked 8 out of the 50 or whatever it was, you got what's called a first dividend. And if you got, 7, you get a second dividend. And so there was a pot, very much like the lottery today. And I would just pick the same numbers. I've got a few lucky numbers, so I just pick these numbers. And it wasn't done online in those days. You'd kind of fill in this coupon. And I actually
had to put a little cross in it, didn't you?
You did, a little cross. And you get 1 point for a home win. So that's the home team winning the game. 2 for an away win, I seem to remember, and 3 points for a score draw. And so I do these numbers every week without really thinking about it. And I remember going off on holiday.
And hang on, so Saturday afternoon at about 4:35, you'd go and watch the pools draw because they'd read it all out, wouldn't they?
You would, except that I was on holiday, so I didn't check the numbers. And I got back to an envelope on the doormat. And I put it on the sideboard in the kitchen. It was there for about 3 days because I just thought it was junk mail. And eventually I opened it, and we are talking 1992, I think it was, roughly. And it was just short of 25 grand, which today would be what, 55 grand?
I think I worked it out and sent it back to you. It's about 55 grand. That's incredible. So was it just a check?
It was just a check. They didn't even turn up at my door, and it was a first dividend. But because it was such a derisory amount of money to Littlewoods Pools, I guess they thought, we're not going to send somebody around for 25 grand. We'll just stick a check in the post.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So you get this, you open it. How many times did you look at it? Like, hang on, this has been
quite a few times, I have to say, quite a few. Because I was still young.
Business has only just started.
Yeah, I was just transitioning from the business I was in to thinking about my own business. It would be fair to say, I didn't have very much money back then, so 25 grand was a fairly life-changing sum of money at the
25 grand would have been a decent deposit for a property, wouldn't it, back then?
In fact, that was eventually what I ended up spending that money on. It was the deposit on my first home that I bought in 1996.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you're this really amazing financial advisor. You know lots of things about where to put your money and stuff like that. If I won 55 grand today, what should I do with it, Sandro? Because it's not going to. Well, I suppose it would be a bit of a deposit on a house. But what should I do if I won 55 grand today?
Well, you're asking me a very, very generic question, because obviously the answer would be very specific to you and your circumstances. But presupposing it's just a general comment. First of all, although cash is not the place to be holding money at the moment, deposit account, because we know that inflation is 9.4% and the return you get on cash is 0 point something. So in real terms, the value of your money is going to diminish over time. But in the short term, cash is always a good thing to hold, because you heard it here first. Over the next 12 months, there is going to be quite a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of pressure now on interest rates, which means that a number of people start to feel the pinch. There will be all kinds of investment opportunities, whether it's property or the stock market, over the next 12, 24 months. So cash would be a good thing to be holding, I would be thinking at the moment. That said, there are lots of reliefs and exemptions one can use, from ISA allowances to capital gains tax allowances. So if you hadn't already used those, that's where I'd be recommending you use them.
Wow. Okay. A little bit of financial advice on the show today as well. Absolutely superb. So there was a lady, I don't know if you remember who she was, but she won an absolute fortune, and she just went spend, didn't she? That was in the 60s. She won it on the pools.
And there's lots of stories of people. I say to people all the time, money is both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I was recently introduced to a lottery winner. He won 48 million, and that was about a year and a half ago. And since then, he's lived like a recluse. He hates life, because he's got people knocking on his door, begging for money. The relationship with his family's broken down. So, if you don't handle it in the right way, actually, it can be a bit of a problem. So, blessing and a curse is the way I'd summarize it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is, you hear of these people winning 48 million. My life would be made. But yeah, you're quite right. It's just, and I realized a long time ago that it's what you've got around you and your friends and your family and your health. It's so much more important than chasing those dreams and stuff like that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're pretty much running out of time. You've gone all the way over to Colorado, and is it just one speaking gig you're doing?
I'm speaking twice today, but it's
all right.
A lot of people.
Okay, and what's the, you allowed to tell us what the topic is today?
So the 6,500 delegates that are here are, hopefully, if it all goes according to plan, I'm dealing with two kind of ends of the process. So a lot of advisors, obviously, and LinkedIn's a good example, want to connect with more people. We call it prospecting in our business. So how do we find and engage with new prospective clients? But just as importantly, how do we take care of those people in the future? And the regulator, you mentioned Loutro, it's now the FCA, they are very, very keen now to look into the service that advisors are providing. And in America, they are some years behind where we are. I don't think we're in the right place yet in the UK, but in America, they're even further behind. So I'm doing, the second presentation is on client service and maintaining those relationships, intergenerational planning and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, fantastic. And so how long is your talk for?
2 1-hour sessions.
Wow. That's amazing. And have you had time to enjoy the area?
No, I haven't actually. I arrived on, where are we now? Tuesday. I arrived on Sunday late. The usual jet lag issues. Yesterday I had a couple of meetings with the powers that be at LPL. had a dinner meeting with a group of people, and that was it. So I've been confined to my hotel room, as you can see, this very salubrious
yeah.
hotel room that's dimly lit, which is probably just as well, given the fact that I look shocking at 5:30 in the morning.
Bless you, bless you. And have you bought your fridge magnet yet?
I haven't, but that's a secret. I really wish you hadn't told anybody.
Well, we don't have to expand on it.
Excuse me, I have a deep, dark secret that I have one fridge magnet for the 87 countries and all the states of America I've ever been to.
That is fantastic. That is, and that's the thing. So I started, I started when I started doing some traveling, and it wasn't an awful lot. And I don't work for that company anymore, so I'm not. But I used to bring back a little shot glass for my daughter, so she's got a few shot glasses from different parts of the world.
And she's now an alcoholic.
Absolutely, and it's my fault. It's my fault. Oh, Sandro, I could sit here and chat to you all day, but you've got to go back to bed and get some sleep before you do your thing. You've got your breakfast to have. Thank you to everybody for joining us. And I've got one last question that I ask absolutely everybody. What advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Goodness me, that's a toughie. I mean, I have to say, there's no substitute for working hard. So I would just say, you know, get up earlier than everyone else, put in a shift, and enjoy life. I think it's as simple. The equation's quite a simple one, really. Work hard, play hard. That would be the advice I give myself.
I love that. I love that. Thank you very much, Sandro. You've been an absolute star. Thank you to everybody for all your comments, and we will see you next week. Cheers, everybody. Bye bye.